the French R. If you followed last week's episode, you already know how to produce it. You can gargle, r. You can clear your throat as if you had a phlegmy cough, or you can sound like a cat hissing. Now we're going to do some follow-up pronunciation exercises and you're going to learn exactly when to produce each of those 3 R sounds. Welcome to Quirky French Podcast, the podcast that helps you speak more confidently, feel more focused, and be more in control of your French learning journey. Prêt? C'est parti! Bonjour, bonjour, bienvenue sur Quirky French Podcast. Welcome to episode number 34 of Quirky French Podcast, the podcast that will give you tips for your speaking, your listening, and your conversation confidence in French. I'm your coach Naima from quirkyfrench.com, and today we're doing a follow-up episode on the French R sound, or shall I say the 3 R sounds. We're going to do some really specific pronunciation exercises to help you engage the right muscles every single time. And I'm also going to show you exactly when to produce each of those 3 sounds. So if you haven't done so already, I strongly recommend that you also listen to episode 33 called The French R. You already pronounce it without realizing it. In that episode, I show you exactly how to produce the 3 different types of French R's using really simple analogies and referring to movements that you already produce naturally. So yes, just make sure that you listen to episode 33 first before doing the pronunciation exercises in today's episode. Okay? Prêt? Are you ready? Allez, on y va, c'est parti. Okay, step 1, syllables with all types of R sounds, starting with a gargly R, r. Repeat after me. Ra, ra, re, re, ri, ri, ro, ro, ru, ru, roux, roux, rein, rein, rang, rang, rond, rond. Okay. Same thing with a tense, the phlegmy R. Same thing. Ra, ra, re, 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 ro, ro, roux, roux, rein, rein, rang, rang, rond, rond. Très bien. Moving to the last one, the airy cat hissing one. Re, re, ré, ré, ri, ri, ro, ro, ru, ru, rein, rein, rang, rang, rond, rond. Ok, excellent, très bien. Really good already. Next series, the R sound and the end, starting with the gargly one. R, ar, ar, heure, heure, ir, ir, or, or, ur, ur, inr, inr, onre, onre. Moving on to the phlegmy one. Ach, ach, er, er, ir, ir, och, och, ur, ur. And now the airy one. Ah, ar, er, ir, or, ur. Okay, très très bien. Now, the last series, we're going to place the R in the middle, okay? Again, the three types of R. The gargly one, R, ara, ara, ere, ere, iri, iri, oro, oro, uru, uru. The phlegmy one, ch, acha, acha, eche, eche, ichi, ichi, ojo, ojo, uru, uru. Okay, and the airy one, the cat hissing one, aha, aha, eche, eche, ichi, ichi, ojo, ojo, uhu, uhu. Okay, well done. That was step 1, syllables. We're barely just warming up. Moving on to step 2. Let's do a series of words this time. Now, just the gargly sound. Okay, the gargly air sound. Rhum, randonnée, rétine, rime, rustique, roulade, ringard, rappeler, robot. Okay, très bien. Now let's practice the phlegmy air, okay? Repeat after me. Creux, pratique, croissant, critique, tranquille, trop, truc, trempé. And finally, let's practice the airy cat hissing one only. Repeat after me. Égard, lire, lueur, effort, futur, genre, lourd, vaincre. Ok, fantastique, c'est déjà très très bien. Okay, well done. That's already really good. If you're still with me, then you're well on your way to nailing the French R every single time. We're going to move on to step 3 now. Step 3 is all about understanding the patterns and identifying when to use each air sound. So the patterns I'm about to give you are very generic rules, okay? There's always a bunch of exceptions, as you know, but at least it's going to help you hear those 3 air sounds in context. So here are the common patterns, and you might have already spotted them from step 2. So the gurgled air is usually produced between 2 vowels or at the start of a word. So the example from last week was Paris, Paris. Or also at the start of a word, like the word riz, rice. Okay, so here is a list of examples. Paris, riz, repas, heureux, rendre, carotte. Here is an example of a sentence. Really good practice for that sound. Ce repas de riz et carottes me rend heureux à Paris. Ce repas de riz et carottes me rend heureux à Paris. That meal of rice and carrot makes me happy in Paris. Okay? So now we're going to move on to the spitty, phlegmy air. Okay? This one is usually after a consonant at the start of a syllable. Last week's example was train, the train, le train. Here are some more examples. Croissant, la France, prendre, trop, and cru. Okay? Here's an example. Je prends le train en France pour manger un croissant trop cru. Okay? Je prends le train en France pour manger un croissant trop cru. I take the train to France to eat a croissant that is too raw. Good. And finally, the airy air, the cat hissing one, is usually at the end of a syllable. Last week's example was la mer, the sea or the mother, as a matter of fact. But we could say l'amour, love, l'air, the air, la peur, the fear, avoir, to have. So here's an example of a sentence. Il a l'air d'avoir plus peur de la mer que de l'amour. Il a l'air d'avoir plus peur de la mer que de l'amour. He seems to be more afraid of the sea than of love. Il a l'air d'avoir plus peur de la mer que de l'amour. Ok, alors très bien. Well done for keeping up with this exercise. So you can practice on a regular basis. Just pick any of the steps that you want to work through and just practice just for 1 or 2 minutes every day. And you'll see that you'll progressively activate the right part of your throat and mouth. It will become natural and it will become effortless. Okay? So you get the idea now. You know exactly how to nail the French R sound. But if you want to study sounds further, it's very easy. Simply head on to my website where you can receive and complete a 7-day course completely for free that will teach you everything you need to know about sounds and pronunciation, and that will help you fine-tune your phonetic skills. The course is called Ultra HD Listening Skills, so you can head on to www.quirkyfrench.com/UHD listening. So that's letters UHD, then listening, all in one word, UHD listening, and you can receive the course for free. You're going to learn so much more about sounds, so much more about phonetics. And again, I'm just going to be using really simple analogies instead of overcomplicated explanations and phonetics jargon. And the link is also in the description of today's episode. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it was a good workout for you. I wish you a beautiful week. Again, just like last week, full of spitting, of gargling, and of hissing. And I will speak to you next week for another episode of Quirky French Podcast. C'est tout pour aujourd'hui. And in the meantime, keep learning, keep growing, and keep it quirky. Bonne fin de semaine et on se retrouve la semaine prochaine pour un autre épisode. Salut, salut. Bye.